Guys, this is insane. I didn't even know this was a thing. This is crazy. Hey everyone, so today we're at Mikado Game Center in Ikebukuro. This is an incredible arcade. It's not the Akiba location that you might be familiar with, but this one used to be called Game Park, and I believe a few years ago was bought by the owners of Mikado and changed into a second location. If you have more info on that, definitely leave a comment because I'd love to know the history. So, diving into the arcade. So first, I'm going to go through each floor one by one. There's 3 floors, and I'm going to give you an overview of what's on each floor. So this first floor is a bit of a general amusement floor, you might want to call it. So there's racers, rhythm games, light gun games. There's a few traditional like retro arcade cabinets. Here we've got some Blast Cities, some Astro Cities. It's kind of a catch-all. They've also got crane games at the front. Yeah, so we're going to do an overview. Then what I'm going to do is go one by one through all of the really interesting rare games, some stuff that really blew my mind. So definitely stick around because you're going to want to see some of the crazy stuff that they have here. Now going down to the basement level, this floor is really cool for a couple of reasons. One is it has some really rare shooters, but it also has some other stuff, some puzzle games, some mahjong games, some pachinko games. They also had like Super Mario, just some different odds and ends. The only downside to this floor, you guys, is it is a smoking floor. So if you don't like the smell of cigarette smoke on your clothes, you're probably not going to want to hang out here for too long. But there's some really cool games that kind of makes it worthwhile. So it's tricky, but really, really cool floor overall with some awesome games. Going up to the second floor, this floor is probably my favorite, and this is the fighting game floor. So they have an insane selection of retro and modern fighting games, as well as a sound system for tournaments that they host in the fighting game community. Just so much stuff here. And they also had a couple shooters. You can see Tetris there on the right, a couple puzzle games, as well as some Gundam Games, which were so cool. So I'm going to go through all of the individual cabinets now. Let's check it out. So right off the bat, you've got Space Harrier, classic Sega arcade game, really fun. Nice to see the OG cabinet, like straight out of Shenmue. Gunblade New York, really fun Sega light gun game. You've also got F-Zero AX, which is an incredible racer for the GameCube and the arcade. Unfortunately, they didn't have 2 linked units, but it's still super worth playing. Sega Rally, really fun classic 32-bit Sega racer. Just really kind of nostalgic era of racing games for me. I loved that. You've also got Parodius, my number one favorite shooting game. Oh god, I don't know, Ikaruga's up there, but Parodius is just my jam. It's the best. And as you can see, the screen on this, well, maybe this is not the best way to show you, but the screens in this arcade, you guys, were impeccable. They were in such good shape overall. Dynamite Deca, aka Die Hard Arcade. This game is the best. I have it for the Saturn. Play it all the time in multiplayer mode. It's super fun. Just arcade, Sega, beat 'em up, cheesiness. There's just like wacky stuff in this game. It's super corny, but really fun. Highly recommend this game. Dungeons and Dragons, Tower of Doom. Really cool little D&D Capcom game. I haven't played this one a ton, but it looks super rad. Okay, now this is the big one, you guys. This was in the teaser. This is nuts because I didn't know that this existed. I didn't know there was an arcade version of Typing of the Dead, which is one of my top 10, maybe top 5 Dreamcast games. I own it with 2 keyboards at home. I play it all the time. It's super fun for a party game environment. And I believe, I did a little research. I believe this is an original arcade cabinet, so it's not refabricated or anything. Just so cool to see in person. And I discovered this here, which is kind of the magic of these Japanese arcades. little game here called Dancing Eyes. I don't know much about it, but I kind of like the graphics, so this is kind of for me to check out later. R-Type, classic, IREM shooter. I'm not sure about the cabinet on this one, if it was original or like a refab, but it did have the IREM graphics on that board. I don't know if that means anything. And then moving to the fighting game floor, of course you've got Third Strike. Here's a great example of how nice these screens look. I need to fiddle with my capture settings, but I'm telling you, they looked way better in person. And that's what's really nice about this arcade is overall the machines are really, really well maintained. You've got Virtua Fighter 5, Final Showdown, one of my favorite Virtua Fighter games. Really nice to see. And they had some of these in network mode as well, which was cool. King of Fighters 2000. I'm not an expert on the King of Fighters games, but I have a couple of them. Love to see them. Dragon Blaze. Again, this was like a discovery. That's the magic of these arcades. It's like, it's so rare to find retro games these days that you haven't seen before. So to discover new stuff is just like, it's the best. And that was this one. And this one as well was also a discovery for me. I had not heard of this one before. And it also had really gorgeous sprites and graphics. And I'm excited to give this one a try. Okay, so moving on to the Gundam section. This section was awesome. There were a couple of retro Gundam games. And first I'm just going to start off by just showing you guys this intro video because it's so wacky. There's like a Gundam here flying out of this arcade machine. And then you see all the different suits that you can play with. A lot of stuff from your favorite Gundam series. It's just really cool. But it's nice to see these retro Gundam games which I was not familiar with and I hadn't seen before. It's really easy to find modern Gundam games in Tokyo, but these ones, not so much. So you can see by the gameplay here, it's kind of maybe more akin to some of those PS2 era Gundam games. It's a little simple, kind of run and gun, but I just love this era of graphics. And again, they're new for me, so it's like there's just a magic to that that's just harder and harder to find as time goes on and more people do YouTube videos and more things get exposed and shared, which is great, but there is less mystery and you gotta love the mystery. This one is called Gundam vs. Zeon, and it looks a little bit older than Gundam Next, more of like a PS1 style of graphics, but it also looks just really fun. And yeah, it was just awesome to discover these games for the first time. So moving on, you've got Virtua Fighter Esports, which is really interesting. It's got this terminal that you can log into. I'm not totally sure how it works, but I do know on these two units, you can play different games. So here you can see Virtua Fighter 3TB, and there's, I believe, like a Mahjong style game on the left. There's this other Sega game here. So you can kind of pick different games from that terminal. I don't know, it's interesting. I need to dig into it more. This is the tournament announcer area where they keep, I believe, like leaderboards and they, obviously do the announcing for the fighting game tournaments that they have. Street Fighter 2 classic, had to show it. Unfortunately, I filmed one of the cabinets that had a little bit of a funky oversaturated screen, but most of them are super nice. Here you've got Capcom vs. SNK 2, which is a fun fighter. I actually have never played this one before. Here we have Vampire Savior and Vampire Hunter. Have both of these on the Saturn. Absolutely love these games. They're total classics. And these ones had really gorgeous screens too. This is Sailor Moon. This is like a fun little 2D beat 'em up, which is just kind of cool to see. And then going down into the basement, we've got our last two games down here that I want to cover. One is Dodonpachi, classic legendary shooter. I'm sure there's a ton of fans watching this video right now. Like, people go crazy for this game. Really great shooting game. And then another new discovery for me that I was kind of familiar with but had never seen in person or played is this Macross shooting game. So Macross is kind of, it's like a mecha anime, kind of in the vein of Gundam. I'm probably going to make some people angry by saying that, but it's in that realm of like 80s mecha anime. And yeah, just a cool little shooter. So that's it, you guys. That's the overview of this arcade. Let me know what you guys thought. What was your favorite game? I didn't even scratch the surface of all the games they have here, so if you're in the area, like, definitely you've got to check it out. But let me know what you thought. Let me know what you would want to play if you were here. And again, just thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. And if you could just give this video a thumbs up, and if you like the channel, maybe sub. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you all, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.